Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Zach Walker, the Bearded Realtor, here with
Keith
my partner,
Rowe.
Keith Rowe. How is everybody today? If you can hear us, let us know how we sound. We are excited to be coming to you. Hadouk. Sorry about that. My dog
Never
is
fails.
here, and without question,
Just gonna
not
let us
going to
know.
let that ride. Come on, Duke. Hush. Thank you, buddy. So what's going on, everybody? Friday morning edition, Real Talk Live here from the Revolve Realty Studio here at Gray and Holt on Market Street, downtown Athens. We have an announcement lined up for you today that we're excited to come to you with, and just going to talk about all things real estate and whatever else is going on. I'm sorry, my dog is going crazy. You guys just have to deal with it. We are launching a Real podcast. And that's the big announcement. So it's really not that big, but we're excited about it. It's going to be called Beyond the Beard, and it is a show about everything beyond the beard. It's going to be a local podcast about local events, about anything North Alabama economics, real estate, but more importantly, the community. We're going to have a local hero segment once a week or so, and we're going to sit down and talk with some local police, and we got some firefighters lined up, and just excited about that. I mean, what?
Also, we're going to be doing a local kind of around town segment where we'll be highlighting some of the events for people that live in the area, just so you'll know what's going on and what's available.
So, for all of you that are not tired of us yet, you will be soon. So it's one of those things for us, and we built our brand on this, really and truly, and it's something that we love. The platform that we get by doing this, honestly, it's Tim Knox's fault. And I wish he was here today to join us in this announcement and talk about all this. But Tim is meeting a client currently and had some work he had to handle. But at the end of the day, when Tim joined our company, he was all about the digital content creation, and I was an idiot about it. I didn't have a clue how to do it. I didn't know how to start.
And
didn't
he
know where to
turns it
start.
out so well.
And that son of a gun is just
cranking.
He's relentless,
Absolutely.
Ruthless even. But no, it's without Tim and what he has done for our company, we wouldn't be where we're at today, and I believe that. And so I'm thankful for him. But it is his direct fault that we will soon have a podcast. We're working on developing this RETV concept that we've got here, and at the end of the day, we hope that it adds value. It's never been about selling us, and that's what we love about it. It's not about our company and what we do. I mean, it gives us the platform and the opportunity, but really and truly what it is it's more about the community and what's going on and how it's happening and what's happening and where and when and all of those things. Athens is on the on the brink right now, aren't we?
It is growing tremendously. I was noticing the other day there was a new stat that came out about our new construction numbers, and I think we had like 2.5 months of new construction inventory in the fastest selling new construction market in the state. So, there's a lot going on.
Speaking of new construction, another exciting announcement we're not going to make just yet, but stay tuned. Maybe next week. We've got a subdivision, Tennessee River subdivision that is prime for some new construction that we're going to be jumping off into. But let's go ahead and talk about while we're talking about Athens. There's an article that came out about loft living.
Yeah, that was exciting. I saw that story on the news this week.
I forgot to turn the sound off on this thing. There it goes. Yeah, so it was. We own a building downtown. We are right here. We have the opportunity to do some loft living, and there's been a ton of construction on the square. A ton of construction on the square. And
one thing that I did not know until we were talking with Terry Richardson yesterday was the reason that they cut up the whole parking area around the square was to put in that larger water main. And I'm sure that has been talked about in the paper, but I didn't realize that was what was happening, and that directly connects back to the loft living to be able to get that water pressure.
Well, yeah, the reason that everybody thinks that loft living hasn't been approved and all that, like downtown living, but it's not that. It's more about the fact that the water doesn't have the pressure to do that, and so now they're going to make those changes and make that possible, make it feasible. So I'm excited to see what it looks like, but I know that getting some local living here downtown would be really cool for the community. Now parking is
that's a little bit of a different story.
Bit of a challenge as you never mind. We're not going to go there today, folks. Maybe save that for another day. But I may or may not have about 8 parking tickets sitting in my truck from parking in front of my own building. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I mean, Athens is exploding. Madison's exploding. I mean, we are so busy that it's. I mean, we had people walking off the street to buy a house. We had three random calls yesterday off of, and this is just it's just a byproduct of the economic development that's happening here in Huntsville. We've got,
well, you look at how many top 25 lists Huntsville and the surrounding area makes, and everybody across the country is seeing that.
Oh, and Mark George chiming in. What about parking? Mark, you are trying to incite a riot currently, and while I appreciate it, I'm going to choose not to bite on that today. We will do a conversation about that, I'm sure, at some point. But no, it's one of those things where we've literally sat here since November and watched just over the last couple of months the actual everyday change of this town. And what's great about Athens, what I love about Athens, is the fact that, in fact, in a meeting with some local idea leaders here, the term preserving our Athens-ness, like it's a term, like it's our Athens-ness. Preserving that seems to be of the utmost importance, and that's what I love about our leadership and where the town it wants to go, because they understand what makes us great. And that's what we love about Athens. Is what my wife and I, when we moved here, fell in love with. And I'm not from here, and that I might lose some favor by sharing that, but it's probably no surprise. I grew up in Florence and then left when I was young and didn't come back till about 5 years ago. And so,
no, we forgive you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Keith. Your forgiveness means the world to me. But it's one of those things where I've lived in some small towns in different areas that are small, big towns, that kind of have the feel of what this place is turning into. But it's just neat to have leadership that cares enough about the integrity of small town feel, but willing to make the changes and the investment in the economic growth.
Yeah, I mean, to push growth, but still hold on and maintain that community that we have in Athens.
Shout out to Shonda Davis. Hey, girl. She says, I love the city of Athens. Well, the city of Athens loves you so much that we can't wait for you to bring that Superior School of Real Estate over here to the old Gray and Holt building. We're got a waiting list as far as I can tell. But no, it's it's one of those things. So again, Real Talk Live means a lot of things. This show is really a mix of whatever. And so we to talk the real estate side of that just briefly, and then we'll go back to just whatever. We are experiencing numbers that are, and I didn't look at the last snapshot. I don't know if you're more the numbers guy, but our days on the market continuing to go down. Average home price continuing to go up. We have gotten to the point where we've almost caught or have caught Madison and the city of Huntsville, and that's out here in Limestone County in little old farm town, because Limestone County is one of the largest agricultural counties in the state. Am I wrong?
We are the smallest county technically in the state, but we have a large agricultural presence.
Yeah. So the per capita, or however they measure that. I mean, Keith, all fairness, Keith is a farmer, is a lifelong. I mean, he's been farming since the family, right?
Yeah, about 3 generations.
Yeah. So, and beautiful farm out there over on Cambridge. I mean, it's a cool dynamic again, because you can be out on the farm. You could be in Madison in 15. Be downtown Athens and
that's the great thing about this area. We have a lot of areas right outside of town that are easy to get to, and that's one thing where we're seeing a lot of growth, because a lot of the new people coming in, they don't mind driving a little bit more than. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of spoiled. I was raised a mile off of 72 and 5 miles from Athens, so it was easy to get anywhere. But you have people coming in here that are used to commuting an hour and a half, so for them to live up in Ardmore or out in West Limestone and drive to Huntsville is not a big deal.
Well, what's funny is you jump into real estate, everybody talks about Madison, Huntsville, Town Madison, Midtown Madison, all the stuff that's happening, and they're great. But I live on the west. I mean, I'm all the way out on the west side of town. I'm as far west as you can go and stay in Athens, and I can be anywhere I want in 15, 20 minutes. And so, it's just that again, you got that small town feel, but you get to experience all the, Trash Panda Stadium. Have you driven by that lately?
Yeah, I'm telling you, they are throwing that thing up.
I am very happy to be a season ticket holder for the beloved Trash Pandas. Terry Richardson chiming in. She loves downtown. Terry, downtown loves you. Terry is what I call the default mayor of the square. We got our mayor, our wonderful mayor that we love, but Terry Richardson is the mayor of the square, and she is such a force in the community, and we love her to death, and she has been instrumental. When we first bought the building, she was one of the first people to come through, want to see it, want to know what our plans were for it. She supported us from the beginning, and so she does the Main Street Foundation over there. They've got an office here on the square. If you have any questions about Athens ever, Terry would love to talk to you about it. Let's see, Travis Baginski chiming in. I have 4 remodels coming up in Athens next month. That's more than the last 3 years. Well, let me tell you something. Travis stays so freaking busy in Madison and Huntsville. The fact that he's moving out this way is great for everybody. First of all, because he does the best remodel. Hammer and Sales, it doesn't get better than Hammer and Sales. On the remodel, they actually filmed an HGTV pilot.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And
so coming out here, that's fantastic to hear. It's just, again, it goes to show that Athens is no longer that. We're going to keep our quote Athensness, right? We're going to try anyways, but we're no longer that sleepy little town that is on the outskirts of everything. Everything is moving this way, and the reason I believe is. Well, I don't believe I know. Madison, Huntsville, about full.
We full. That's right.
We about full.
There's no way. There's no way to go. That's right.
Well,
this is all spillover.
And we'll take sloppy seconds. I'm good with it. We'll take the growth, and we'll move through it. So in Athens, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. There's kicked off the Friday after 5 stuff where there's just music on the square all the time. The atmosphere.
There's always something. It shocks me. Just being up here on the square more, you see it. There is always something going on. A couple of weeks ago, they had the square dancing. They had the concert the other night. And
they also have tire art competitions. Sidewalk chalk and tire. I've chimed in on that. Do a little happy face on some tires. It's it's weird. I always win.
I was about to say you're out there competing with the 5-year-olds.
I'm thinking it was at first place. I thought I won first place. Yeah. No, it cost me $10 every time. But no, it's one of those things where you sit out here and we just go right over here and we watch. And the people, there's just always somebody walking around. And there's a couple great places to eat. Obviously, we are Village Pizza.
We eat a lot of Village.
I feel like it's probably if it was a publicly held company, we would have to have some.
They would be sending us stock for Christmas.
No doubt, because we spend so much money over there. But again, at the end of the day, it's this is a, quote, real estate show, and so we checked our real estate box off and told you how awesome the market is right now. Very matter of fact with statistics. I'm just kidding. It's just, it's one of those times where it's exciting to be in this business. It's exciting to see people that home builders, companies and names coming out of the woodwork that you've never seen before, building 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 houses. You see some, I just love, that's what I love about the free market. That's what I love about capitalism, because you get to watch the nature of competition in business is probably, a lot of people like to watch sports. I love sports, played college baseball, but watching business and understanding how it works, the dynamics, the people, the leadership, the ideas, that's what's fun for me. And we're seeing right now a lot of people that are creating real.
They see the opportunity to step out there and take a chance and be that entrepreneur and to change their life. And it's a great time to be in any type of real estate, and we're in probably one of the best areas in the country. So
Rob chiming in here. What's up, Rob? Athens Saturday Market will host opening day festivities 8 a.m. to noon Saturday. That's tomorrow, everyone. So if you want to come out and you hear us talk about Athens, you're like, man, I don't live out there. It's it's 15, 20 minutes away. And you want to come out and stop and see it. Do so tomorrow. It's going to be a good opportunity to get out and kind of see see what all's going on. But again, the nature of business right now and the nature of all that, it's just fun to see. I'm excited about this loft apartment situation.
It could really change the dynamic because we have a lot of traction, a lot of people coming up here like we're talking about. But if you actually have residents living here, if we can figure out that parking component and then maybe even develop more places for people downtown, I mean, it would just get the more activity and the more traction we can get, the more we're going to be able to build out the infrastructure.
Well, in all fairness, and we talk about parking a lot, and there is a story there, and like I said, one day I'll tell it to you. But in all fairness,
well, everybody knows it's a struggle.
Is it a struggle? Is it a struggle? It is certainly. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Everybody views the downtown as the quote square, and it is the downtown square. But we just talked about Madison and Huntsville. Like, our square is full. And so what's going to happen, and I think this is where people kind of lose their bearing on it, is they're like, well, the square is packed. Well, sure it is, because it's a finite amount of pavement and dirt and grass that is home to the courthouse, which takes up the lion's share of the physical property. And then from there, you're going to have to continue to grow outwards. And so I was a part of a project in Chicago that it was very similar but not, in that it was we went in, and it was an older downtown suburb area that we were able to come in and take blocks at a time. And so what I think people need to understand, and what's going to be exciting about watching this, is the square's full. We get it. We're with you. The square is going to grow, right? And the square itself will always be the square, but downtown itself will have to start growing. And that's what's going to be fun, because there are some absolute, I don't know if you've ever been through the historic district downtown, but we've got some, what's the name of that, we just talked, Franklin Lloyd Wright. We've got one of those houses down here it's a replica. It's a really good replica.
And then the other new one that just went in over,
so we have two of those. That's right, because one of them's that tall, like modern-looking tree house. I call it the tree house. And then the one that just got built is that single-story, quintessential Franklin Lloyd Wright design. And so there are houses with this kind of character and charm all over the city of Athens that are currently in rough shape. But as the city is growing, the square is growing, what we're going to get to see and what's going to be fun from us, from a redeveloper, as my good buddy Evan would call it, flipping and redeveloping properties, is we're going to have opportunities to take some of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful old houses that have fallen into disrepair, and as the square or city continues to grow, those are then they're going to become opportunities for that redevelopment. And to take those old houses, we own one over here, or we have the Marion Street building over here that is it's a old house that had been converted to an office space. It was our first office right before we got into this one, because everybody needs two of them. But no, it's just this beautiful. And right next door, you got a guy that came in. He bought this old house, and just painstakingly, every piece of it, all new paint. He's out there sanding it himself. It's just fun to watch people care.
Well, and there's already, like you're saying with him, and there's already money coming into some of the old houses. One auctioned off a couple of months ago, and I know a lady from out of state bought it, and she's putting a lot of money into it, just right off of Clinton.
Well, and what's unique about what we're talking about here, if you're watching this and you're not from Athens per se, is that you look at redevelopment or development in cities like Huntsville and Madison, and there's a lot of outside money, outside developer, outside, you name it. With Athens, what we have is a lot of people that are really, insider is a word that might get me in trouble in here, because if you weren't born in Athens and go to Athens High School and live your whole life here, you're not technically an insider here. But you have a lot of people that live here in this community that are, like you said, or moving to this community, they're redeveloping not for profit necessarily, but more because they want to be a part of a community.
A love of the architecture, a love of the community.
And that's a difference maker. Because look, redevelopment is good in any capacity. If it's outside money, outside people, whatever, love to have them come in and join us and be a part of the movement. And for profit's not bad, but it's a totally different ball game when it's about joining a community. It just takes that whole concept of community and explodes it into a whole nother stratosphere. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with Athens. It's been a lot of fun to sit down here on the square. What's going on with the RIA, buddy? What's going on with the?
Let's see. We've got the Madison meeting is coming up this Thursday, and we're going to be, and then the Athens will be the second Thursday of the month for the Athens Real Estate Investor Association. This month we've got a good topic. I know a lot of people are interested in it. We're actually in the process of doing one right now. It's going to be about lease options.
Oh yeah, and in case you're just joining us, it's Zach Walker, the Bearded Realtor, Keith Rowe, my partner here on the Real Talk Live this morning. We've covered a lot of irrelevant topics with not a whole lot of direction, but we're having a great time doing it. So the RIA, the Real Estate Investor Association, is an organization that you are the vice president of the Athens group, and we meet here at our building. Got Zach Childress out there in Madison and Jill out there in Decatur, a bunch of great people. We've been involved with them. That's how you and I got connected.
Yeah, that's how
and then we've had the opportunity to go speak and be a part of some of their conferences and such. But yeah, if you guys have any interest or desire in that investing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you want to learn more about investing, whether it's rental properties, flips, lease options, whatever, all topics are covered within the RIA. So come on out and join us in Athens. Again, we'll be the second Thursday in June, and we get here at the Gray and Holt building about 5:30 for networking, and then generally we'll start speaking on our topic around 6:30.
So let's talk about lease option, because that was a scary term for me for a while. I didn't understand it necessarily, and you guys have watched and heard about our flip that has taken us longer than we wanted it to. We've made some mistakes. We've had some, long story short, root canals without anesthesia is how it feels. But we've had some resolution to that. So, just to give you a little backstory, a few months back, had a client, real estate client, call in, interested in buying a house, got them. They came down from Illinois. We shopped around, looked around, couldn't find anything, took them to the flip, and they're like, we love it. I was like, well, it's not done. He's like, well, I'll do some of the work myself. I was like, okay, well, let's talk about that. Well, long story short, they are taking possession this weekend as a lease option, okay? And so let me tell you how that turned a bad situation into a great situation. Basically, you've got this home that we bought for, and I'll just lay the numbers out. Bought it for $32.5. Expected to put $50 in it. That didn't happen.
A few bumps and bruises,
try
and a little more.
69-ish, 70-ish. So we're in it pretty hot.
We're talking a full gut rehab.
We basically rebuilt the whole thing. Yeah. And so here we are sitting at a much higher number, worried about protecting the investment there, right, and the profit. Obviously not at a risk of losing money, but certainly stretching our margins thin. And we talk about it all the time when you flip houses. You make your money when you buy. And how you buy, right? So if you buy right, you have room for those mistakes, which fortunately we did. But so then all of a sudden the buyer comes through, they want to buy the house, they've got another piece of property that they have to sell in a different state. Market's not quite as hot. Already have approvals and everything for traditional financing. But to get this thing done quickly, they basically just came in and said, we have cash, we have X amount of cash, and we would like to secure the option to purchase, and then we will lease the property, which we drew it up a little bit differently. There's 100 different ways to do a lease option. But in our specific situation, they're going to buy an option on the property for X amount of money. And then they're going to lease from us the property for X amount of time, a predetermined period.
So, I mean, just hypothetically, they're going to come in with their option money. They're going to put that down, and they're buying a 6-month option to then be able to purchase that property at a specified price. So it's going to work out great for them. They'll come in, buy the option, and live in the property while they kind of finish up selling the property out of state and getting their loan secured.
So what that did for us, though, from a investment standpoint, was we, again, and I tell you all, we talk about this all the time. You will make mistakes when you renovate houses. When you flip, I don't care how long you've been doing it. I don't care what you're going to. I mean,
it's just part of it. I mean,
it's going to happen.
It's part of the game.
You factor it in.
That's
you
right.
Plan on it.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
that old crap, 10% that you add on.
And we made the mistakes, or what mistakes happened. The rain. I mean, nothing we could do
Wettest
about
winter
wet.
we've had,
But what's funny is because the renovation's taken significantly longer than we'd hoped. We've watched our property value just continue. Right. I mean,
it's been a great time to take a long
heck of a time to make a mistake.
That's right.
But we've watched our property value just continue to grow. And then the neat thing is with this lease option, now all of a sudden we've taken 6 months of a lease payment that doesn't. I mean, it's not a principal payment. It's not a.
No.
That's
a lease.
A lease, and we've taken that, added it to not only now we're cash flowing. Now the property cash flows with an exit strategy predetermined at 6 months or less. So you've got your. Let's just use $150,000 as the number. Okay. The buyer would come in with, let's say, $50,000 to buy the option, a 6-month option on the property, right? And then for those 6 months, they're paying you a lease figure. That is cash flow, monthly cash flow coming in, and it's money that doesn't apply to principal, right? And so we've taken a lemon, and with a little bit of luck, we've ended up making 6 months additional cash flow on the property and selling it for the number that we wanted to sell it for. Plus or minus a few anyways.
And another great thing about it, a lot of times in the lease option situation, this guy said, hey, I'm willing to do a little bit of the work.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to stop the project where we are, which is 99% done.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, putting
Pulls on cabinets.
Very simple stuff, but it removes us from the situation. It allows us to get our guys onto another project, and we're going to be able to move on and be out of that.
And yes, it holds up our capital for a little while. I mean, it's going to prolong the But here's the other option.
But you're at percentages that you can't make that on your money anywhere else.
That's right. And so, but here's the other option, though. You're out there thinking about, well, what, if you only had the money for one flip, and this was that one flip, let's talk to that person, because they're sitting there like a little apprehensive to maybe do this because the whole, they have X amount of capital tied up in this property, and until they receive that capital back, they can't move to the next one. Once you have the lease, once you have the option purchased, I've done it, seen it done. It's very easy if the lease portion of the lease option is longer than you would like to be without your capital. It's not hard at that point to go and refinance into a more traditional scenario. See, we're in a cash position on this one, and so there's no debt service cost,
But if you were that person, I mean, all you're going to have to do, you still own the property, and you could go to the bank. I would suggest going to the small local community banks, talking with them, and refinancing your equity back out so that you can be working while your lease option tenants are doing their thing.
Zach Childress chiming in saying, hey, Zach, I know you've got something to say about this situation. You know a little bit about some lease options, a little bit anyways. My man Felix from last week chiming in. I love you too, Felix. I love you too, buddy. Can't wait for you to move up here and be a part of what we got going on. So we are, 28 minutes in. We're running out of time here.
Time flies when you have
fun. So this is what we're going to call the 2-minute drill.
All right.
I just came up with that. I don't know what it means.
He loves to spring in something on you at the last minute.
Oh, man, that's how I live
last
my life.
2 minutes.
That's how I live my life, 2 minutes
Amen.
at a time.
Amen.
2 minutes at a time. No, guys, but in all seriousness, if you need anything from us, you know how to get in touch with us. It's 256-BUY-SELL. That's 256-BUYSELL. I still don't know how we were able to get that phone number.
Every time I hear it, I smile.
Oh, it's like Christmas every day.
Beautiful.
The gift that just keeps on giving.
Talking about Christmas soon, we will have an announcement. Talking about. I know it's a little early to be talking about Christmas, but I'm just saying there's going to be some big news coming.
Big news. I've heard.
Crazy excited.
I've heard that there may be a Santa sighting in the Gray and Hope future.
I think it could happen.
Maybe.
I think it could happen.
Anyways, guys,
we're in negotiations with the North Pole, but we will definitely.
The elves have they're not. They've unionized.
It's hard bargains.
We're having to work a little harder than we'd like to, but we're going to make it happen for you guys. No, in all seriousness, if you need anything from us, you know where to get us. 256-BUY-SELL, beardedisbetter.com or revolve.com. Certainly get us anywhere there. If you're looking to sell a house or buy a house right now, guys, in all seriousness, you need to consider it because every day, and I tell people this all the time, buying every day that you wait, you buy less house with the same dollar. And right now in the sell side, houses are selling fast. I mean, we put a house on the market last night, and I've had 4 showings scheduled in 12 hours. And so it's one of those things where it's moving quick no matter what happens. Now is the time. Call us, call somebody. Obviously, we do a little different. If you'd like to hear more about that, we'd love to tell you about it. But if you sorry, this
been one of those shows.
One of those. But guys, if you need anything from us, love you guys. Call us, text us, email us, smoke signal, whatever. We'll help you guys out, and we'll talk to you next time. All right. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody.